But it means that for the people that come on the course, when you go like, oh, I was in the massive K-hole, or oh my God, yeah, I spent my last 50 quid on like a bag of shit coke at the weekend, or like, I was sitting in this guy's house and suddenly realised I knew nobody in the room, but I couldn't leave because all I wanted to do was sniff their gear. It's like, everyone's like, oh yeah, I've been there. Oh yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, rather than like, when I first started to get sober and I went on to Club Soda, which is like a Facebook group, there'd all be like housewives hiding the bottles of wine in the cupboard and stuff. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I quite like cocaine. And they'll be like, you're the devil. And I'm like, well, I don't really fit in here.
Welcome to Crave the Rave, a naughty podcast for old school ravers who need a fix of the rave. I'm Lady Bizarre.
And I'm Jess the Mess.
On each episode, we'll be reminiscing over hilarious, embarrassing and downright mental stories from our raver days. Think trippy tales, fezzy fails and stories from the sesh. We've seen, heard and done it all, and we bet you have too. So join us for a trip down memory lane.
Hello and welcome back to Crave the Rave. I'm Lara.
I'm Jess and I've still lost my voice. I'm going to give it everything I've got this episode because it's a really special one, but I'm Jess without a voice today.
Yes, we have two very special guests. It's our first foursome.
Yay!
Oi. Welcome, Dani and Joanna.
Hi.
Hey, lady.
So much for having us. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for coming on. This is great.
So before we dive into all the juicy stuff today, I want to give you guys a proper introduction so people know what you're all about. You're both doing some pretty sick shit out there, I would say. So I'm excited to have you on the podcast. I was going to make my own intro from what you guys sent me, but actually it was so good. I'm basically just going to read it out because it's perfect.
Yeah.
So, drum roll. Dani is a coach and psychologist. She says, raving was my sole identity for 15 years. I've had phenomenal times and chased some of the best parties around the world. Are you cringing?
Yeah, dying. Thanks, babe.
That's why I'm doing it. It's funny, isn't it? But recently, I've craved more depth and purpose. So combining the two great loves in her life, psychology and music, alongside Joanna, Dani is coaching party lovers to adopt healthier behaviours with drink and drugs. She says, I've had a very colourful past with both. I still party, and I've also dived into my journey of healing and self-discovery beyond the substances and the raves. It's been a total game changer, and now I'm on a mission to help others do the same. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, go Dani. I mean, I knew all that and I think it's impressive.
Yeah.
Honour to have you here.
Honoured to be here.
Joanna, you ready?
Yeah.
Ready to hear your own words back in a really weird, dramatic way? Okay. Joanna is a DJ agent and sobriety and moderation coach.
Yeah.
She's 15 months alcohol free. Woo!
Yay.
Yeah.
And on a mission to help people get their drug and alcohol habits under control. She says, I live and breathe health and techno. I'm making it sound so much cheesier than it is.
Oh, very cheesy.
It's great. I love it though. But from my job to my DJ husband to living in Berlin, although we've just moved to North Wales, bracket, biggest culture shock ever. True say though, what a change.
Yeah, trust me, it's true.
Joanna has a 2-year-old daughter and she has managed to navigate her way from the brink of addiction to a healthy, happy raver who still enjoys a few cheeky lines and half a Gary every now and again. There's been plenty of blood, sweat, wines, lines and tears, but it has been fun.
Yay.
That's true. Yeah. It's the truth. Cheesy as it is.
Can I just point out how we are literally the same twosome? Like, the listeners at home, we need to post a shot of this because we look alike. And also our lives are actually really similar. So this is crazy because we're living the same lives, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. I want to also just introduce the project that you guys have created together because I know for you, Joanna, you've been leading people through your 6-0 experiment. I mean, doing incredible work. I know a couple people that have gone through that. Tell us quickly what that is.
Yeah, okay. 60 days where people, like-minded people, and when I say like-minded, I mean people like me, like people like parties, festivals, raves, after parties, basically sesh heads. We come together for 60 days and we do our very best to stay sober and learn about ourselves, and then just to like experiment or like what life is like without drugs and alcohol. Because when I decided that my drug and alcohol consumption was a problem, I was like, I don't actually know what I'm like without a hangover and a come down or getting on it. Like I've literally taken drugs and drank for like 20 years. And I was like, maybe I should try and discover what I'm actually like. So it's like, it's 60 days of sober, but it's also like a path of self-discovery. That I know that sounds really cheesy, but it is. And Dani did the program this year and loved it. It was like, it did actually change my life.
Wow.
A-star student.
She was an A-star student. I went to all the meetings. Like, I was actually very impressed. And like that project or that course starts in January, but we have other little things as well. But that started about 4 years ago. And then Dani came on board this year so we can grow it, because having a full-time job, having a baby, like having a life, trying to run a side hustle as well, like a lot of work.
Yeah.
So Dani's come on board and we're so different but so the same. Like our lives are like, so Dani like lives in Mexico, she's single, like just spends the beach. I live in North Wales. I'm sitting on my desk every day. I'm a mum. I'm married. Do you know what I mean? It's like we polar opposites, but obviously there are lots of similarities, and that works really well with the business because it means that we can talk to different. There's people with the same problem, but coming at it from different angles. Yeah, so that's really nice.
And our journeys have been quite similar with drink and drugs,
as in
varying aspects.
Total wreckheads. No, we're not.
Pretty much the same as us then.
So similar to us, it's insane.
Yeah. And so your new project that you launched this year, is that right? The Other Side of Fear.
Yeah. And and it's a baby business, but it's going really well. And it's totally scary starting a business, like totally scary, especially with such a it's such a niche. Do you know what I mean? Like when like it's for people who want to get sober, but you've got to love house and techno. Like that, but it means that for the people that come on the course, when you go like, oh, I was in the massive K-hole, or oh my God, yeah, I spent my last 50 quid on like a bag of shit coke at the weekend, or like, you know, I was sitting in this guy's house and suddenly realised I knew nobody in the room, but I couldn't leave because all I wanted to do was sniff their gear. It's like everyone's like, oh yeah, I've been there. Oh yeah.
Totally.
Rather than like when I first started to get sober and I went on to Club Soda, which is like a Facebook group, there'd all be like housewives hiding the bottles of wine in the cupboard and stuff. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I quite like cocaine. And they'll be like, you are the devil. And I'm like, well, I don't really fit in here. And like talking about it would be like, well, you're just a junkie. And I'm like, well, I'm not. Like there's lots of people out there like me.
Yeah.
Like gone too far. So I can't even remember how I got onto that. Like, I always lose my train of thought these days. But yeah, anyway.
Well, no, I just was asking about The Other Side of Fear, and do you want me to dramatically read out what you sent me about it?
Oh, I've loved it so far.
Yeah. Thank you. The Other Side of Fear was born out of a gap in the market for people who love raves, after parties and festivals, but maybe feel like they need help with their drinking and drug taking and don't necessarily resonate with AA or NA. I feel that. Dani and Joe say, we don't preach total abstinence forever unless you want to. We help you find your sober path that works best for you. I love it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, Joanna, I want to ask you, like, how many people have actually in 4 years gone through 60?
So about 160.
Wow.
Incredible.
So the first year I launched it, I had literally no idea what I was doing. I was like, oh, I really want to help people. I was like, oh, I can help people get sober, because people always come to me and be like, how did you do it? How did you do it?
Yeah.
And I launched it. And I couldn't believe that 40 people had signed up. And on the first meeting, there was suddenly 40 people on my Zoom. And I was like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. Like, what? And all these people had trusted in me to run this group.
It's amazing.
But at the end of the 8 weeks, I was like, people were saying to me, like, oh, thank you so much. You changed my life. And I was like, well, I didn't change your life. You changed your life. But I was like, this is amazing. And people were like, you have to do it again. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
I can think of about 40 people right now who would really benefit from this. Like,
really?
You know, we are in our mid-30s. We're all settling down, you know, having kids and stuff. And still people are finding it really hard. And it's like that thing of like, what does that mean? I have to completely give up myself and the loud music and the events that I've thoroughly enjoyed and made me for all these years? Do I have to do that? Well, because I can't do that and I can't party. So, you know, there's so many people I know that would like benefit from it because they don't want to give up the rave.
No.
You know, but they do need to give up the drugs, really.
Yeah. And like, we do, like, that's what we say, you don't have to give it up. And like, for example, for me, like, I'm now alcohol free, but I still get on it a little bit. But when I say a little bit, like, if I put in a drug order for a weekend, it'll be like about 60 quid, where it used to be like 300.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, it really is a little bit. And now where somebody will be like, you know, wanting to stay out until like 8 a.m, I'm like, oh, that sounds like quite bad.
Yeah.
So the people that you talk about, they're those 30-something people that are settling down that still can't say no. They're
Yeah.
people the course is for.
Yeah.
When you're 27, 28, you don't reckon or it's not a problem. Do you know what I mean? You're
No.
still having fun.
No, it's no problem.
It's once you get to like that point where you're like, I should really have a bit more responsibility, and you're like, my life should be a little bit better than it is right now. That's what the point I got to. I was like, how can people afford to get married? How can people afford to like buy nice cars and buy houses? Like, I've got piss in. I was like, and then I stopped drinking, taking drugs, and I was like, really weird. I've got loads of money. I was like, and I was like, oh yeah, and I'm sober. And I was like, oh yeah, fuck. Oh yeah, maybe there's something in this. Like actually, and I was like, oh yeah, and I'm healthy, and I'm getting up in the morning, and I've got the best body I've ever had, and me and my husband have got the best sex life in the world. I was like, Lily is sober. I was like, this is pretty fucking great.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because I think we've all had those nights where you think like, I'm never drinking again, but it's actually a whole different thing to actually like do it. I'm curious if you don't mind sharing, like Joanna, like was there like a moment when you were like, all right, this time I'm out?
Yeah. Well, the very, very first time was quite dark, but that was like 6 years ago. And then I started drinking again, like after I'd had my baby and I stopped breastfeeding. And I was like, I can totally drink again. I'm allowed. I've sorted out my shit. Like, I'm so in love with myself. Like, all my demons are put to bed. It's great. Like, this is wonderful. And I started drinking again. And I was like, probably this is a really bad idea because like all this old shit is coming back out again. But it was the final night was I went to Fabric. I had DJs playing at Fabric for a night, and I was like chuffed to be there. And I was like, this is going to be so much fun. And don't make a dick of yourself. I definitely made a dick of myself. But I went to Fabric, basically took all the tequila and all the vodka from the DJ rider, stole it all. And me and my husband basically went around the green room just giving out people shots over and over again. And I was already pissed before I got there, actually, because I went to a free bar. I don't know, I tried to stay sober and I went to a free bar. Like, obviously, that's what's going to happen. Somewhere, people just kept giving me bumps, and then happened to use the house keys to give many people bumps and lost the house keys to the flat we were staying in. The flat was my friend's flat where my baby daughter was, who my friends were looking after for me. Their front doorbell was broken. So when we got home, we were just like, let us in. It was like 5 a.m.
Oh shit.
So shit-faced. And then we had to wake up at 10 a.m, drive to Liverpool with my daughter in the car. And I was horrendously hungover. Got in the car, was like, no, I need to be sick, ran behind a skip, puked up all over the road, got in the car, drove down the road, was like, nope, stop again, puked up again, started crying my eyes out, like looking at Honey in my rearview mirror, being like, I've let you down so badly. And I had to get my husband to drive the car uninsured. It's my mum's car as well. So I was like, basically, we're going to get pulled over and be arrested. And they're obviously going to know that I've been doing drugs all night and drinking, and I've got a 1-year-old and I'm just such a bad person. And then by the time we got to Liverpool, I was like, I'm never drinking again. And I was going to a wedding, and I was like, if I can do the wedding sober, and I had just had the best time at the wedding, and I was completely sober, and I drove home at the end of the night, and I was like, I'm never drinking again. Never, ever, ever. And it was the best decision I've ever made. That was 15 months ago, maybe even 16 now. But this was like, you know, as I was puking on the side of the road, I was like, oh, how are we back here? How are we here again? I was like, you've already been down this road a million times, and this isn't even like the worst story. This is the famous story, and here I am. Like, I am literally, I've got the most precious thing in the world in the back of my car, and I'm obviously still half cut trying to drive to Liverpool. Like, you're a fucking dick. Sort your life out. And so,
did you drink on your wedding day?
I said I wasn't going to, and then they gave me a non-alcoholic glass of prosecco, and I just went, get rid of that, give me the alcohol. And I said to my friends as well, because we had I had a few weddings, but one I split them into friends and family, and I had the family wedding. We just had a few friends at the family wedding, and I said to them, do not bring drugs to the wedding. Like, if you bring drugs, I'll be in so much trouble. Obviously, then they all got really shit-faced pissed, and they were just all hammered. And I bought 2 grams of emergency cocaine. So then I was in the toilets dishing out the coke to them, trying to sober them all up. I was like, I was such a contradiction. I was like, don't wedding, I'll bring my own.
The amount of weddings that we go to, and people are like, no drugs, no drugs, no drugs. It gets to like 10 p.m. and everyone's like, where's the gay? And everyone's pissed, and people can't handle being really drunk. And even the bride and groom are going, bring the bloody key. Like, well, you told us not to bring any. Get the key out, we need it.
Yeah. Because like you hit like what, 9, 10 p.m. and you're like, I'm now hungover.
You're low.
Yeah, you're just tired.
Yeah.
I actually had one of the moments when I was like, I'm actually not a big drinker. I don't really drink much anyway. I never have been a big drinker because I can't actually handle my alcohol. I always like sort of trippy drugs. So I love going out and getting on it and doing like trippy drugs, but I'm not, alcohol's never been my thing. And even gear either, it's not really for me. But the night that my husband proposed to me, he did it in our new flat and we had all our friends and family over, people from abroad and everything. I thought it was a housewarming and he proposed and it was amazing and it was lovely. But I thought it was a housewarming and I didn't think it was going to be that. And he had booked like a pub around the corner because my flat was so small. I didn't really eat much and we went, I didn't drink much either, but I had a couple of Prosecco's. Prosecco is my danger drink. That is the one that I just can't handle. Couple of Prosecco's just because it's like have a toast, isn't it? You know. Anyway, we went down to the pub and it was only about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I remember being in the pub and I had a shot of tequila, which is the worst thing I could possibly do because I knew that I just can't have a shot. Next thing I know, I've woken up in my bed at 5 a.m. Pissed the bed. I always piss the bed when I'm drunk. So disgusting. And I think like work dues where I've been sent away from work and I've been put in like nice hotels and stuff. Like if I have a drink, I piss the bed. Anyway, that's a separate story. And then that's also why I don't drink. Anyway, then I woke up and like the front door was like slamming closed and I was like, what? Went into the living room. It's just like my husband sitting on his own listening to techno really fucked like, and I was like, what the hell? Where is everyone? What happened? He was like, yeah, your dad and our housemate, who was a friend of ours that rented our room, had to carry me home at like 8 p.m. and put me to bed. Everyone else carried on at the party, at the pub. And then obviously everyone came back and cracked on at ours. And like people that had come from abroad and everything, I didn't even see them.
No.
Like I literally was like, the last person had left. And like, I was like, oh, right, okay. So I missed the whole thing. So after that, I was like, right, you know what? I'm not going to drink at the wedding. I cannot risk. I didn't drink loads at that time. So like, I was like, imagine that on your wedding morning and you can't remember your whole wedding. And that happens to a lot of people. So I was like, I'm not drinking at the wedding. I had like a couple of drinks and by the end, I was fine with people getting on it at the wedding. I was like, as long as you've eaten dinner, because I'm paying for that fucking food, you can eat it. As long as you've had dinner, as long as the speeches are done, if you don't want to get on it, cool, but don't offer me any, I don't want it. And everyone was really good like that. But it got to like 10 p.m. and I had an 8-month-old baby because I'd moved my wedding so many times.
Because of COVID.
Wow.
So how many weddings did you have to cancel?
Like 3 I cancelled. So like, yeah, so I wasn't planning on having this wedding with a baby. But anyway, the baby didn't come to the wedding, let me tell you that. But because I was still that age of being a mum, it gets to like 10 p.m, 9:30, and I am exhausted, like it broken. Like I'm drinking Coca-Cola, like 4 fat Coke, like 3 of them in the row. I'm eating donut after donut after donut. Really what I'm thinking is I want some fucking gear. But I've made such a big thing out of being like, don't give me any gear. What do you do? If you give me gear, but we're not friends anymore. Everyone else is all fucked because you need to be, as I said about a wedding, but I'm like, I'm not having any gear. Anyway, got to about 11:30. I said, got my husband. I was like, get with me now. Get in the disabled toilet. Give me what you got. He gave me crumb, right? This crumb sent me high. So I got so low because I was so tired. This is why I'm so glad I didn't get on it all night. The one embarrassing moment, and I am a cringe fest. The one embarrassing moment I had from my whole wedding was as soon as I came out of that disabled toilet, my old boss was there with his wife, who I've never met before. I cornered her and started talking about International Women's Day. And she was like, sorry, huh? And I was like, yeah, International Women's Day. Like, literally, chewed her ear off. And she was like, she couldn't really hear me. And she was thinking, why the fuck is this guy doing that? Anyway, the coke wore off. And I plummeted further down into tiredness than I had even before. I was like, this is hell. Like, I know it's my wedding day, but I'm so tired. Anyway, that was that. When I woke up the next morning, I thought, thank God I didn't get on it all night, because that embarrassing moment that was to my boss's wife that I've never met, will never see again, and didn't really really. Yeah. That would have been me the whole time. I'd be thinking about my wedding, being like, oh my God, cringe. I would have called my aunties and my uncles and all that sort of thing. So I did well by not doing it, but that was literally the lead up to that was because of the engagement and how wrong that went.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's why you have an engagement party, is like a bit of a pre-practice, you know what I mean? Like, or am I going to go over the top at the wedding?
Yeah.
I'm going to fuck it up.
Also, who to invite and who not to invite? Were you good at the engagement?
Me and my husband had an engagement party in a warehouse in East London, and yeah, I don't even remember getting there. We went to my friend's pub first, and he was like, "Yeah, loads of prosecco," and like my only memory of getting there is like I remember my feet were hurting, so I took my shoes off, and then the other memory is me deciding to get changed under the decks and just like taking my dress off, realizing that I've only got knickers on, and the decks is like all open. So I'm just lying there like, "Can you get my other dress, please?" And the friend comes up and like throws a coat on me. She's like, "Everyone can see your boobs." I was like, "I don't care." And I was like, "Give me my other shoes. They don't go with this dress." She's like, "You're so fucked. Do you care about what you're wearing?" I was like,
This was a brilliant party.
It was,
and literally everyone was there. I actually have one more memory. I think I was standing around having a fag in one of the rooms, and you came up to me and you started like itching yourself, and I was like, "Joe, what are you doing? Like everyone can see you." Just like really like grubby itching in inappropriate places. And you're like, "Hang on, I've got something in my pants." And you pulled out like this really squashed chocolate. I actually thought you'd poured shit. I thought she'd chat herself. And I was like, "Babe, do you want to go to the toilet? Like, everyone is here." Obviously, we were all completely mashed. And she just had this brown, sloppy hand. And she was like, "I saved Neil some chocolate." My husband loves chocolate. Babe, no, he can't have that. He's like, "He has to. I've saved it for him."
Oh, that's brilliant.
Well, I'm glad you remember that because I haven't. Do you not remember that? No recollection of that at all. Like, no.
Oh God, it was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good party. It was fun. We had one rule: no dickheads.
Yeah.
We were dickheads.
Yeah.
We were so mashed. It was brilliant. That's actually the night that my now ex-husband told me he loved me for the first time.
Oh,
I know.
no.
He was like 4 pills deep, though. Yeah, it was that night.
That's where Zoe and Dario met. Yeah, that's our friends. They met, and I always call them my love babies because they met at our engagement party, and now they look. Yeah, it's very cute.
Can I come to a party of yours then? I want to find some love. They're legendary. They are legendary.
Not that good. The last party we did was in Ibiza. We did a wedding party for 60 of our mates, and it was fucking wicked. But it was hardcore, like too hardcore. Yeah, so it was fun though. It was fun. Like we had a fancy dress, like dressing up box, and the party was already, I will say, a good solid 9.5 out of 10. And then I turned around and saw my friend Jonas in like full on like a little matador jacket and like a hat and stripy leggings. And I was, "It's amazing. Where's the fancy dress box?" And then it just went to like an 11 out of 10, and it just got like and we invited the drug dealer to come to the party, so we knew that the drugs were really good. And we were like, "You can't give us shit." And then she ran out of drugs. She's like, "Have you got any of those drugs left?" And I was like, "I've got loads actually." And just selling them back to the dealer.
That's funny. So, Joe, you shared your kind of turning point moment, I guess. Dani, what about you? But yeah, so I guess for me, I decided I was going to just really address my drug and alcohol issue once and for all, like towards the end of last year. And it was really the final habit that I had, or the final, habit or thing that I was doing on an ongoing basis in my life that I knew was really blocking me just from being like my best self. And we said at the beginning, didn't we, about, I think you said, Joe, like starting a business and starting the other side of fear, like it is quite scary. And I knew that this was the year that I really wanted to like drive my coaching forward. And I thought there's absolutely no way in hell I'm going to be able to do that. Because I'm just going to be drowning in like anxiety, self-doubt, like imposter syndrome. Like that's all going to be at the forefront of my mind. Like I'm just not setting myself up for success. And when I party, I go in really, really hard. And there's just, well, now there is a middle ground with me, but for the past like 15, 20 years of my life, there has been zero middle ground. Like I'm always the last one standing.
Mm-hmm.
In recent years, that has really started to like embarrass me.
Yeah, I feel you.
Like I'm just sick of being, do you know what I mean? I'm always referred to out of my friends as like the beast or the animal. And it's just,
that when I first met Dani, I was like, fucking hell, like I thought I was hardcore.
That was all us.
I had a bit of pride in it as well in like my 20s.
Same.
And I could out party anyone. I'd go to Ibiza. I was still partying 3 days later, and I party you under the table. And then when I got older and I look back and all that, I do not want to be that. That is not me.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. nah, it's just not. I just wanted to focus on other stuff. Like I've got different priorities. I'm 36 now. I'm not 26, right?
Yeah.
So there was that, and also if I feel like I'm coaching other people to be their best selves, how can I like genuinely sit within myself doing that? Like I feel like a fraud, right? Knowing that I still haven't got a hold over these habits. Like how can I go to a coaching session on a Monday feeling like utter shit? Like it's so disrespectful to the client, right? So there was all of that. But bearing in mind, like this was the last habit and like thing in my life that I let go of. And I did it begrudgingly, even though I was quite ready to do it. Like a couple of years ago, I was in a marriage that no longer was serving me. I had a job that was making me unhappy. I literally gave up my income before giving up drink and drugs.
Right.
And that completely baffles me. Like I can really see how connected I was to this identity, right? Like this wreckhead raver identity.
Yeah.
It was me. Like it was, but that was me, right? My whole life. But anyway, so I got to the end of last year and I thought, no, I'm going to do this now and I'm going to do it like with a community. So that's when I joined Joe's 6-0 experiment at the beginning of this year, not without going absolutely mental for 10 days over Christmas and New Year. And Lara will know this, that I live in Mexico now. And in Mexico, there's like this Christmas period and all the expats that live there, like it's just absolutely feral. Like no one works and it's just 10 days of just disgustingness. I don't know, or it is where I live. We're on opposite sides of the country. So anyway, so I really did kind of get all of my partying out of me. I knew I'd be exhausted in the new year and I was like, okay, this is a good time now to just give myself a break. So I did the 6-0 experiment, really, 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 really loved it. There were parts that were obviously tricky, but overall it was just the most transformational journey, like the best gift I could have given myself. Like wicked to do it with Joe as well, leading, you know. No, honestly, I actually getting a bit emotional because it really was beautiful. A funny story is coming though, and then I thought, so anyway, so I did the 6-0 experiment for 2 months, and then I carried on like the sobriety for a little bit because I felt so amazing, and obviously wanted to continue feeling amazing. And then I thought, okay, I've done it for a while now. I'm reformed. I can go out again. What I did wrong is that I went out again and didn't have a plan in place. Didn't really have any intention behind it. Wasn't very conscious. So the minute I decided I was going out, I see now that I kind of morphed back to like the 20-year-old Dani, right? I should have really approached it differently, but that's fine. You live and learn. So anyway, I went on this night out, started on the mezcals, and bearing in mind I hadn't had a drink for like 2.5, 3 months, right? So obviously 3 drinks in, I'm absolutely battered. And then before you know it, I'm going from club to club. I'm texting a guy I used to hook up with that I have zero interest in seeing again. He turns up to the club to see me. I'm snogging someone else. Obviously, I can't remember any of this. He told me afterwards, after sending me a message along the lines of "What the fuck is wrong with you?" which he was totally entitled to send. I then apparently like semi-clap, start like chunder all over myself from the cab home. Obviously, trying to hide it, like trying to like keep it in my hands. I vaguely remember that bit. My friend has to literally stay with me overnight because I'm vomiting so much. You know, she's worried that I'm going to, you know, choke to death in my sleep. Wake up in the morning, there's a random man's shirt in bed next to me. I'm like, well, how the fuck is that there? Because I thought we came home together. She was like, babe, I have no idea you were wearing it. Like, what? So I don't even know. And then obviously I have no recollection of that. So then I'm like, did I do something with someone? Like, what the fuck happened last night? And then I literally felt like I'd been hit by a bus for 3 days. Like it felt like, I don't know if you guys have ever had an operation, but it felt like that post-operative state where you're like, eating Netflix, ordering food, sleep for literally 3 days. And then I was just like, yeah, no, I'm done. I really can't be asked to feel like this again. I did feel quite shameful, like annoyed and ashamed. But mainly I was like, my life has been so amazing these last few months. Don't want to feel like this again. So anyway, I have partied since, but mainly without booze, if I'm honest.
But in a way, like a night like that probably isn't the worst thing because where it was so bad, it's like, right, bang, that's a reality check. That's exactly why you've done that. That's exactly why you're not going to do it again. Whereas if you sort of dabbled a bit and actually got carried away and actually it was really fun and you know, then maybe it'll open you up again to be like, well, I did it last time. It wasn't so bad. It didn't feel so bad. At least like where it's so horrendous. Hopefully that will actually make you go, do you know what? I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Well, I'm much more careful now, and just put it into context. So I went to like a day party at a record store that my mate was doing. Was it a few weeks ago? Maybe last month. And I literally had a quarter of one square of chocolate mushrooms, and my friends found me. I was like rocking in the corner of the room, like 2 hours. Like, the thing was just like caving in. It was all like an oil painting. I had to keep going to the toilet just to like, when you go to the toilet to let your face go and just to
have
a really good go. But that was the worst thing to do.
Totally.
They had like newspaper cutting everywhere. I was just like literally dying. I felt like I was in this newspaper whirlpool. And then one of my mates was like, babe, you can't, like, you've literally had a quarter of a square of chocolate, like, pull your stuff together, do you know what I mean? I was like, no, you're right. I'll do a bump just to, like, cut through the mushrooms and, like, I just want to have a really good party. And then vomited after my one bump. I was like, So anyway, so, yeah, it's just, I'm still in my experimentation phase of figuring out how to party in a way that feels good and that my body responds well to, but certainly now it's just, dipping my feet in the water and I can't. I'm not the Dani I once was, and that's fine.
I think it's so good that you girls are so open about it and that you're talking about it and you're bringing it, so real. It's such a big part of all of our lives because the drink and the drugs are so embedded in our culture growing up that that's all we did. Like I've talked on the podcast before about how I got a job when I was like late 20s that I really loved and I wanted to start taking serious, and I had to work Saturdays for. So I also met my husband at the time, who's a party boy, and like I had to really start reining it in. And by reining it in, I mean going from partying all weekend, every weekend, to like maybe every second weekend, maybe telling myself to go to bed like after a whole night and day of partying. And then what I'd do on the weekend when I'm not partying is I'd have like this absolute dread feeling that I'm missing out, that I'm being boring, that I don't know what to do with my life because I'm not used to having a weekend of being sober. But the whole time I'm missing it, I'm dreading it. But I know I have to do that because I have to be all right on Monday. And then when I got into the habit of being all right on Monday, where I was like, do you know what? I can come into work on Monday and be happy. Like I've never had that before. And then once I sort of got to, I could then have another weekend of it. But it had to really like reprogram my brain to be okay with, I'm not going out this weekend. I'm not getting on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to bed. It was really hard after 20 years of doing the absolute opposite.
It is really hard. And you know what? I say to people who party and do what we do, it's a lifestyle. Like it's not just it's like, oh, I go out at the weekend. It's like, when you go out, like that's all you spend your money on. That's what you do. That's what your friends do. That's what you're into. Every holiday is like, all your holiday from work is like on festivals, going to Ibiza. Like it's not just like I dip my toe. Like you don't really, you're either in it or you're not in it. Learning to like give that up and step away from it can be so scary because we're like, who am I without this? Like, what do I do? Am I boring? Like, okay, will my friends still like me? Like, will my husband still like me? Will I still like me?
Even if I went to like a work event or something, like a wedding or a work event or even like a family holiday, I'm still thinking, how do I turn this into a set?
Like my first thing, before I would go anywhere, Ibiza, festival, work event, wedding, whatever, where are the drugs?
Yeah, totally.
I was always like, let's get the drugs sorted.
I was. Same, me too.
Also, I wanted to have a drink because I'm socially awkward. I'm shy. Like I know people don't think I am, but like
I'm exactly the same.
I'm a bit for like a lot of big situations, and I was like, so I have to have a drink.
Yeah,
she's being pissed, and after 3 drinks,
I'd rather do it. Same. I'd rather have a line or something than being pissed because I hate being pissed. But I need something. Yeah. You have to like get used to being in a social environment sober. Being pregnant helps you with that, though.
Being pregnant did help, but I was already quite far into sobriety when I got pregnant.
Right.
And so actually I was like, oh, that's cool. But you know what? The first time I went out and it was like, right, I'm going to go out. I lived in Berlin. And I was like, I'm going to go out sober. And I went to a place called Heide Gluen, which is like this super cool club, like house music. And I was like, I'm so nervous. Like everyone's going to be fucked around me. Like, how am I going to cope with this? I'm going to be so boring. And I got in there and I realised that the only person in the whole club that knows that I'm sober is me. Yeah. And I was like, I can be really stupid and really silly and dance ridiculously or do whatever I want. And no one knows I'm sober. So I was like, wicked. I was like, and then I was there 5 hours. My feet started hurting. I went home and I was like, Halle fucking you. Like, I just had the best time, danced the best music, was really silly with people, like connected with people, like was social. And I was like, fuck, I can do this. Like, this is wicked. I was like, I was just so happy.
And I will say, I love raving sober now, but going to Heideglühen in Berlin, where the crowd is a 10, it's like there is no better place to dance to like house and techno than Berlin, right? So you're in the best place in the world for it. The crowd is amazing. The music is amazing. Perfect. But like raving sober, when all of that is not on point, I do find quite difficult.
For sure. If it's a shit night or the music's shit.
Yeah.
Like, I was very spoiled in Berlin. I could go out sober and be, this is wicked, even though it would be like there'll be everything going on all around you, like everyone getting on it. Like, when the music is just literally the boppiest, grooviest, best music ever, and you can just dance, and also no one's just zero judgment at all. I often find when you go out here, like everyone's dressed up or whatever. In Berlin, it's like the weirder you look, the better. Like, the stupider you are, you know. It's like, and so you can just go and just be like, I can just pretend to be fucked and like just like have the best times. But it was quite a revelation going out sober in Berlin, because it is like, wow, like everyone is fucked and I'm not, and like this is because it is crazy there, obviously, and like some things that you wish you couldn't, you know, remember. Some things you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't seen that guy sitting on that guy fucking each other and looking me dead in the eye and giving me a smile and being like, yeah, cool, welcome to Berghain. Yeah.
Didn't you guys say that you had a funny story from Panorama Bar?
Oh, we have so many funny stories in Panorama Bar. Like the tamest story is when I was convinced that there were Persian carpets on the dance floor of Panorama Bar, like convinced, and I was so upset that everyone was dancing on them, and I was like getting all cigarette butt and like putting them. I was like, oh my god, the Persian carpets, and my mates were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I can't believe everyone's dancing on the Persian carpets. So I was so upset, and I was like, they're literally getting ruined. And it wasn't until I went back there, like the next time, and then I had a flashback, and I was like, looked at my husband, I was like, yeah, so there aren't any Persian carpets on the dance floor. And he was like, no shit, Sherlock. I was like,
he can fucking talk though. He can fucking talk. I remember when we were in there once together, he was cornered, like in the corner of two walls joining, like on all fours, like spinning around. And we were like, what the fuck is he doing? And he turns around and he goes, babe, I can't find the auto service manual anywhere.
and that was the same night that we were sitting in the toilets, and he just goes, sorry about my girlfriend, that she's really moody. She just got back from a weekend in New York. And I was like, what? I've never been to New York. He's like, she's got loads of dollars in her suitcase. And I was like, briefcase. Yeah, and he was like, oh yeah, she went to see all the sites, Cielo, which is a club, like Alpa, which is a club, and Brooklyn. And I was like,
with her briefcase.
I was like, and people were like, oh, how was your trip? I was like, I didn't go.
He was like, oh, she's so moody. She's been so stressed with her meetings.
She got loads of jet lag from her trip to New York. I was like, I didn't go to New York. Where did you get this from? And like, he literally went on. And then he walked up to this guy, this muscly guy that walked past us, walked up to him and just went, oh my God, do you know what my favourite muscle is? And the guy went, what? And my husband goes, oh yeah, I don't know actually. And I was like, you're so embarrassing. I was like, just sit down.
I do agree. When I think about our, like, obviously we do still party together now, but we've been in different countries for so long now, it has been like, quite difficult with the geography. But when I think about the moments when you and Neil are together, you are hands down my favourite couple to party with.
Oh, thanks.
Like, you are just both thinking magical in the best way.
Yeah.
In the best way.
Yeah, well, I went there once with a friend, and this is when I saw a guy sitting on a guy, and they were like, fucking each other.
Yeah.
But they were pretty fucking hot, and I was like, actually, like, maybe I wouldn't mind having sex in Panorama Bar. And I text my husband, next time we come in, we're bringing some lube, like, we're definitely fucking each other in what I thought was a private message with him, but in a group chat.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, well, that's embarrassing. And that was before the days of WhatsApp, delete your message. And I was like, hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm fucked in Panorama Bar, like getting horny, looking at gay men having sex. Yeah. But we did take some lube next time. We did have sex in the Panorama Bar, which was lots of fun.
Yeah.
Until my husband starts high-fiving everyone as they're walking past.
Oh, no.
And I was like, you stop high-fiving people, please, and concentrate on the job in hand.
Did you see the man begging for people to piss on their face in Berghain?
I had seen him, and my friend had pissed in his mouth.
Yeah.
And he did enjoy it a lot. My friend was telling me, he's like, oh, guess who I saw in the toilet? I was like, was it the man who wants you to piss in his mouth? And he went like, yeah. And I was like, did you? And he was like, I did.
It's my husband's biggest regret that he didn't piss on his face.
Yeah.
He literally is like his life regret.
I swear I think it was you that told me, and I've always wanted to go in there just because I'm gross and I like seeing these things, but in the basement, like beneath Berghain, it's a piss club.
It's called The Lab.
Yeah.
Which is, women not allowed in there.
And they open up like the showers and it's the toilets from Berghain.
No.
Yeah. One of my DJs DJ'd for Snacks, which is in The Lab underneath Berghain.
No way.
And it's men only. And he DJs, and the DJs like in the DJ booth, they just got a little slit that they can see out of. And he was like, literally, you look out and it's just a sea of men fucking each other. And he's like, it stinks of shit and piss and cum. And he's like, it's the depths of hell.
Oh, it's the depths of heaven for somebody out there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he's gay. And he's like, and it's far too much for me. He's like, you do not want to see what I've seen today. And he's like, I was like, how was the DJ set? He's like, yeah, wicked. I was like, well, everyone was just fucking each other on the dance floor.
The sex part of it, I get, but the piss, the toilet piss.
People set up fisting stations. They take like a little plastic rug and like they're like the Vaseline and the lube, and then they're like, hey, who's next? And like, well, thanks for that, Joe.
I did act like, when I was a guy, and I did act like a tourist. I was like, oh, where am I going? How far down can I go? What can I see? Oh, sorry, I'm lost. I'm looking for the toilet.
I did actually go in the dark room once. Like we met this guy who was like, oh, I'll take you in the dark room. And I was like, oh, cool. I was like, oh, is this a good idea? And you walked in.
See anything? It's so disappointing.
I saw stuff. I saw it.
There was like one little light and these two guys are like wanking each other off.
Yeah.
But the people, the hands, they just grabbed me in my booze, my pussy, and I was like, oh. So like, what was I expecting?
Yeah.
Like, obviously it's the dark room, but I heard stories of people who've got pregnant from having sex in the dark room.
No.
These are Berghain rooms. Yeah. Who knows how much of it is PR machine?
God, imagine being a dark room baby.
Can you imagine? Who's your daddy? Don't know, Dr. Berghain.
Don't know, Berghain. Berghain's my daddy.
Yeah.
They're probably the people that grow up and end up being down in the dungeon, being pissed off.
I mean, like, no, you wouldn't want to be a Berghain baby.
No.
Ooh.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, but look, there's so many stories from Berghain.
I had a really bad K-hole in Panama.
Yeah.
And you were so sweet to me, but you were like, Danny, do I need to worry? I don't want to look after one more person.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm fine. Literally so pasty. I think my lips were possibly turning colour as well. I felt really, and I was just like rutting. I remember just like quick, like throbbing like a fetus not even in the corner. Everyone could see me.
Yeah.
I was really embarrassed.
And I'd lost my 2 grams of K, and you were like, I've done it all. I've done it all. I've done it all K. And I was like, babe, you wouldn't be sitting there. We would be in hospital, like, for sure. For sure. I'd already just been helping my other friend who'd like been super ill, just like crying, like, oh, I've got such a stomachache. And then I asked the bar woman, like, what can she help with a stomachache? And she was like, banana juice. And I have a massive phobia of bananas. I was like, well, then I was like carrying banana juice back to her, like, oh my God, it's going to fill up me. But she drank it and it was like giving her the elixir of life. I was like, babe, we have been out since Friday. It's Sunday afternoon. She's like, I want to go home. I don't want to go home.
So mad that they had banana juice behind the bar because they're so used to people like you coming in and be like, what can I have for my friend? Oh, well, here we go. It's another banana juice.
They've got a smoothie bar. They get ice cream, sandwiches. Like,
I mean, I've never eaten anything. No, my whole weekends. I'd go to Berlin on a Friday. I'd come back on a Sunday.
Yeah, and haven't eaten anything.
Never. Maybe one meal.
I would probably.
She would. I wouldn't eat a thing, and I probably wouldn't have been to the toilet the whole time either. I never go to the toilet.
I know it's bad, isn't it?
I definitely would.
Oh, you love weeing.
You would. You'd be on the dance floor with a packet of crisps, making me feel sick, and it'd always be something like Frazzles, like bacon flavour. You'd be like, oh, please, you not. Like, this is revolting. It's like a packet of Quavers into Nookers into fabric one.
I listened to that podcast actually. I was like,
so wrong. Who's eating that?
I was like, how about like a little like naked fruit bar? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
No.
This is one of my first memories of Laura. So I met Laura because I went to visit my friend Gemma, who was living in Playa, and obviously that's where Laura is, and Laura and Gemma are best friends. So one of my first memories of you, Laura, is being at a party and you just like being so hungry, and you managed to like, you dug this like quarter of a dirty like burger or kebab from like the depths of your bag.
That's true.
I was like, how long have you had that in your bag?
Yeah.
That was my first memory. And the second one was of you weeing. Like, you and Gemma were just weeing so much. I was like, and she had this trick to like wee into the sand, so you didn't even have to like go and queue for the toilet.
Yes.
And I was like, go to the toilet. But she was like, no, you don't understand how much I wee.
If I went to the toilet every time I needed to go to the toilet, I'd miss the night. Yeah. Oh my God. That is true. Wow. That's what you remember of our first.
Yeah, to be honest, that's what I remember of you as well. I've been your best friend for years. The old bit of a kebab at the bottom of the bag and the fucking pissing.
I'm a barrel of laughs, me.
I remember once that there was a point when I was actually really hungry. So random, never like me. I was like, Lara, do you have anything in that bag? And I thought, whatever it's going to be fucking rank. But I got to the point where I need something. It's only happened once, right? And she was like, yeah. Rummaging through her bag. She always got like a big cauldron bag with all shit inside. Rummaging through. Oh, got this. It was a club bar. But without like the wrapper on it, it's all mashed up, all deformed. And I thought, fuck, I'm going to have, I think I've been throwing up. And like, I just knew there was nothing in my stomach left to give. And I had to have something. I was like, oh, fuck it. All right, give me the club bar. She just watched me, so satisfied. Like, you enjoying the club? I was like, fuck off. It's about being melted and formed over and over again.
All the people's bags are just full of so much shit.
Tobacco hairs, old chewing gum.
It's amazing I hate it, but I must have really fucking needed it.
Yeah. I once shot Grand FMGM in the bottom of my bag and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it.
You got to go for it.
Just like tipped the rim in my mouth and then said to my friends for dinner, like, oh, there's a bit more M than I thought.
Yeah. Or I've dropped the drugs in the toilet before and scooped them out.
Yeah. You have to.
Done it from there.
Wait, in the toilet? Oh, right. In the
like, no, in like wraps, in like paper wraps.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
My friend bum dropped a pill once and she was like, oh, it's not working. So she like fished it out, wrapped it up and like took it. Oh, but wait, we've got the pills. Like, you can just take another one. So I don't want to waste it.
Don't waste it. Don't waste it. What's a bit of bum when you're out raving in Burgoyne?
I know, exactly. I mean, think about all the stuff you sniff, like.
How many bums has that been up to get up our nose?
Exactly. Oh, we can't be fussy.
Well, if that's ever a sign you need to give up the drugs, really, just think about how many bums it's been through.
Lovely.
Lovely. It's so nice chatting to you girls. We are actually the same. It's so scary.
It's so weird. I'm literally like on the screen even looking at you guys. We are 20s. It's so funny.
I know. It is weird, isn't it? But do you know what? I do actually find more and more of people that come into my life, like something like this. I'm like, oh, this is weird, but it's not weird.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's obvious synchronicity at this point.
Yeah.
Me and my husband went to Glastonbury this year. We went the year before, loads of us, but this year it was just me and my husband. And I really enjoyed like chatting to people, doing the same thing in life as us. Renovating their houses, their kids are with their grandparents. Like literally, like we met so many people in the same path as us. When you're there, you're so liberated, you're so free. You've got no responsibilities. It was really nice to connect with people who got it. And like I could talk about my daughter too, and like be like, oh bloody hell, she's a nightmare, or this, she's amazing. And they get it. And at one point, we're talking to this couple that we met about them renovating their house, but we're all off our faces and we're all fucking having it. And we're all like getting down and dirty to the darkest techno whilst we're doing it. And it was just so nice to have that like connection with people that we're not criminals because we had this past.
Yeah.
In fact, we're all in it together. It's so nice.
Yeah. One of the reasons I wanted to leave Berlin is because like all my friends were like rave mates. It just felt like I didn't really have a lot of synergy with the people that I was spending time with. It was like, I'm very different from this. It was kind of like straddling one version of me and another version of me. And I was like, I really just want to be the best mum I can be. I really want to be the most successful in my career that I can be. And I can't do this while I'm constantly like, oh, what's going on at Berghain this weekend?
Yeah.
It's a party. Like, obviously, then I go out and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to be doing this anyway, because I love being a mum and I like being present and I don't want to be even like slightly like hungover or want to come down really.
Yeah.
You just want to be like, kids are only babies for such a short amount of time. And it's like,
but I still want to wake up on a Sunday and we still play the techno. We'll still be making the egg and the breakfast and introducing our kids to the music as well. Our daughter loves it all.
Yeah.
I still want it to be part of our lives in that way. It just doesn't have to be the same way as it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my husband's a music producer. This is his studio. So, like, she stands outside the room, honey, and she's like, daddy dancing, and then comes in. And
Yeah.
Oh,
he, like, shows that he's a drummer. So he's, like, gets his drum out and he does all those drumming. Like, and music isn't played quietly in our house.
Yeah, same.
Music is either on or last, or you might as well just turn it off then.
Same. Exactly the same.
So it's like, in the kitchen in the morning. But she loves it. And I love the fact that Honey's like being introduced to it at a young age, and that's probably what she's going to be into, you know. And so we do listen to Beyonce as well, and a bit of Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus.
So I'm dreading that point because my husband's view on pop music, he just can't stand it. Like it makes, I get it, 'cause it's not my vibe either, but I'm like, there will be a stage where she's going to want, you know, whatever the pop music is at the time, you're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, yes, she'll find her music later on in life, and you're going to have to accept that you can't just force her to like your music, which is deep, dark techno.
Yeah.
You've got a little Taylor Swift moment, you know?
Yeah. Well, Honey loves Miley Cyrus Flowers, which is like when her face, when it comes on, she's like, I just can't believe it. But my husband is like, no, I'm going to be a musical dictator, and you are, you know, you are going to love me. Like, but then he's also that in my life as well.
Yeah, same in my life too.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Yeah. I'm married to the same.
Honey does like her disco sets as well. You put that on in the morning.
Yeah, everybody dance because she's just like,
She loves that.
Everybody dance.
Oh my God, that's literally what we put on as well in the kitchen.
She loves it.
Everybody dance.
Yeah.
That's literally what we put, and we all stand around and dance in the kitchen like nutters.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
It's probably the easiest song to think, what's a good song that's dancing? Okay, there we go.
talking of disco, Joe, you and Jessie are very similar. Joanna, what is the name of your black cat?
Disco.
Are you joking?
No, he's called Disco.
And he's gorgeous.
Wanted to be like Disco. Got some disco biscuit.
Same! My girl was called Disco, and it was because I wanted to say disco biscuits.
It's so funny.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's a black cat. Mine's actually like a silvery black, so I feel a bit like a mirror ball. But oh my God, that's mad.
I know. I found that out yesterday and I was like, I'm saving that for the podcast because like, you wouldn't believe it. It's crazy.
It wasn't like we copied that from anything. We just came up with like, what's one of our favourite things? Disco music.
Yeah.
Oh my God, disco biscuits. That is brilliant.
And when we first got him, his eyes were so big. I was like, he looks like he's been off his face all night. He literally belongs to our family. Look at the state of him. He's off his fucking face.
That's mad.
That's a Berlin cat. Well, you brought your cat then over from Berlin to Wales with you?
Yeah, both of them. Rufus as well.
Oh, I was actually going to get a second one and call it Biscuit and do Disco Biscuit. But I just thought, if my daughter goes into school and goes, I've got cat, Disco, they go, and Biscuit. I go, okay, social services.
They're going to be like, we know what sort of mum you are.
Yeah, let's not. She's already done a podcast about getting on it.
Yeah.
We don't need to get confirmed it's her.
Yeah. But yeah, that is funny that we both got cats called Disco. And
Yeah, man.
the reason for it as well. Hilarious.
Well, before we go, do you guys want to tell people where they can find you and what you've got going on?
So we're mainly on Instagram at the moment. So our handle is at the other side of fear is here. In terms of what we've got going on, so you can sign up to our newsletter as well. So you'll hear from us every week if you do that. We do obviously post on there all the time, like sober inspo, ridiculous stories, just more of what we've shared during our hour here with you, really.
Amazing.
And we have a couple of masterclasses coming up, one towards the end of September, one towards the end of October. Everything we're doing is obviously documented on our Instagram. Got like a little Linktree link on there. We'll also have a 1 month, a mini version of the 6-0 experiment called the warm up that will take place in November. So just for people who have kind of hit it too hard over summer and who want to, get in a better place before the Christmas and New Year madness. Yeah, we've got a few other things on there as well. We've got a 2-week sober email challenge.
I love it. So just head to your Instagram and that's all there, is it?
Yeah, you can find everything on there.
Yeah. And for anyone that's listening, if you come to us and you want to do one of the courses, just tell us that you're a listener, just mention Crave the Rave and we'll give you a 10% discount on anything that we've got running at the time of your choice. Just tell us.
Brilliant.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's great.
Pleasure.
It's so good, guys. Honestly, absolutely brilliant. What you do is amazing.
It's so needed, so unique.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for spending this time with us.
Do you know what? It's so nice to think back and relive all the fun times.
Yeah.
There's definitely a point where I was like, I'm so angry with myself. for putting all my time and money into this fucking habit which hasn't got me anywhere, and like what a waste. And now like you look back, you're like, oh god, I had such a good time, like
fun.
yeah
I live.
yeah
Well, that's literally why we started the podcast, honestly, because we wanted to capture all the stories and be able to like reminisce and not forget them. So you are welcome to come back on and share your stories again anytime, ladies.
please, we've had such a lovely time.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.